Speaking of that, I want to just step back for a second. And can you talk on weight belts, like the benefits of them? Maybe just like let's say someone has never heard, like, why do you wear a weight belt? Like, how would you explain that to someone?
Okay, first off, a weight belt is used to help prevent injury. It's not used as a crutch. You don't want to use a belt as a crutch. You want to strengthen your core through supplement exercises, and then the belt is used to help prevent injury when you're going heavy. So if you're going heavy, you should wear a weight belt. It's designed to build up abdominal pressure so that your stomach can push against something to give you more rigidity for your back, your lower back. But it's helped prevent injury.
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying? So
I do.
I've worn a belt from basically my uncle taught me when I was 14. First thing he bought me was a weight belt. So I've used a weight belt my entire life, and my back, I will core anyone. I have no, my core is strong as anybody's core, and I wear a belt. I joke, I wear a belt for everything now because it's my business. It's a big joke. I'll wear a belt anywhere. I know my core is strong, but and then you don't wear it cinched or tight all the time. You wear it on the looser side when you're doing lighter weight, tighten up heavier weight, or it just hangs like a belt. That's how I do it. But if you're training heavy, all these guys, you don't need a belt, and you don't need a belt, but it's going to catch you one of these days. That one time that you didn't wear a belt because you want to be a macho man, it's going to get you, and you're going to be no good. You know what I mean? So a belt is for heavy lifting, not your warm-ups. And like I said, you strengthen your core. It's just so much to it, but there's no shame in like someone saying, "Oh, I squat." Think they're cool by I squat a 600 no belt. Good for you. All you got to do is slip up one time, and then you'll wish you wore a weight belt.
That's good information. I don't think I've ever had anyone talk to me about a weight belt, like why and when. And so when you're like, because this is going to lead into my next topic with you with training, but so this is a great tie-in here. So when you're wearing it, how tight do you want it if you're lifting heavy, and do you take it completely off or just loosen it in between sets?
All right. So hypothetically, we're going up to, let's say, like 500 on the squat. So 135, you don't wear your belt. 2 1/4, you don't wear your belt. You get up around 300, you wear your belt, and you wear it somewhat snug, but not cinched to where you want to be on your max set. So as you're going up in increments, I'm tightening my belt in increments till I get to my heavy load. That's how I use the belt. Some people go warm up heavier without the belt, but I tend to find you got a little more injury on the lighter sets because you're taking the lighter set lightly. So that feeling of the support, even though it really wasn't doing that much, you're more in tone with your head. You have the belt on, you're getting the pressure against your ab, you're tightening your back rather than just freewheeling or nothing, and your stomach is kind of just not cinching against anything. So it's more of a feeling that you're getting on the lighter sets not being so tight, but tight enough that you know it's there, to the point where you really crank it, where you're just one notch away from being too tight. You don't want it too tight, because then you can't expand your stomach a little bit, but tight enough where it's almost to the max.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Then you have these shit companies out there, you know, making it so the holes are ½ inch. I mean, the holes on my belt are 3/4 inch. It's the way. Right? It's just a marketing ploy when you have a ½ inch increments, where 3/4 inch, 1/4 of an inch doesn't make a difference when you're going to cinch your belt.
All these little details I would not know anything about.
And I can make any belt I want. You have double prong belts. All my belts are double prong, because double prong is twice.
Yeah.
Single prong is, you know, maybe a little more convenient, but double prong, especially in powerlifting, I go for the strength of the belt. I can make any belt I want. I can make leather, suede, anything. I choose to use leather because of quality. I use double buckle because it's stronger. And again, I can make any belt I want.
Well, the double buckle feels more secure too. Like
it's just, you think about it, you have twice the something, break it down. And when people from overseas knock off belts, they knock off double prong. They knock off double prong because it's better, even though it's an inferior piece of belt, by far inferior. They still use a double prong.
Wow, very cool. So your belts are sold all around the world then?
All over the world.
Yeah.
It's probably, I think I've been in every country in the world.
What's what country is your biggest client outside of here?
I do, outside of here, probably Asia.
Oh, really? Okay.
Asians love my stuff. Europe loves it too. I mean, it's just getting them, you know, especially with the COVID, out of the country. But it's all over the world. It's kind of like which is good for me. I kind of built not a fashion, but a brand of quality is worn by professional bodybuilders. The problem is, you know, the good thing for me now today is there's so many pros. So when they get their pro card, it's time for them to get a Cardillo weight belt. That's kind of the reputation I have. But my thing is saying, you know, get the belt sooner, you'll become a pro quicker. But it hasn't. Got a pro.
That's great. That's great. I want to talk to you, Steve, about your crazy training going on in your beautiful location there on Instagram. I'm so impressed, and it looks like fun, except I have to say that the cold days don't look like fun to me.
But coming from the hockey background, I have a gym inside as well, so I heat up inside, and then, you know, I go out for skate, or I always like, as long as I can bust the water, get into the water, I always like finishing with the drop set. So I don't care what the weather is, because I'm already warmed up. I just go out, finish off out there, and then call it a day. But I like to try to get in either the skate or at least 1 or 2 drop sets on the water buckets.
Wow. Okay. So is that location right near your home? Well, you don't need to tell me where exactly it is, but is your home close by?
Yes.
So yes. Walking distance, and there you are.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Is it a lake?
Yes.
Wow. So private lake?
Yep. Private everything.
Man, that is so wonderful. How many acres do you have?
It's just about an acre.
That's it. Okay. It looks like we have maybe I guess all the waterfront is not necessarily owned by you, but.
Yeah. But it's enough to, my gym is 4,000 square feet. So I got a good setup.
Is 4,000 4,000 square foot inside?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Really nice. How long has it taken you to create the space?
Probably 8 years to get it where it is. Like I said, I started in my father's house. Then when I had another house, I built a gym within the basement of the house. And once I moved to where I am now, which I've been here all my life as a summer place, then I finally built a house, my gym, and now it's my sanctuary.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's wonderful. So do you have those awesome special weights, I guess, in there? Do you use them that your father made for you back in the day?
Yes. Yep. I still use them.
Aw.
I have like 3 other sets, but those are their weights of weights.
Do you have any, and maybe I just didn't know what to look for them, but do you have posts on your Instagram that are kind of dedicated to those weights in honor of your dad?
I might have taken a picture, but when it comes to the social media, you have to be kind of strategic on what you put up. And I don't know if, you'd like to be able to give that touch mentality, what we want to call it, of what I have, but I don't think.
Maybe for Father's Day next year, you
Yeah,
can do an honorary post and tag me on it because I'd love to see those. See those.
yes, absolutely. I'll send you a video.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, super fun.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so does the lake freeze over then when
Yes.
it's cold?
Yes.
And that's where you go skating?
Yes. And I do a lot of, ice. Like if I had it in the day when I trained hockey, I would implement what I do now with my hockey. But what I do is I always, now that I keep a hole so that I can always go out and get access to the water even when the lake freezes, so I can do that drop set. That's how important it is to me, that drop set.
Okay. Um, how do you know, and this is coming from someone in Texas who never has water freeze around me, how do you know it's the lake is sturdy enough that you can be on it and skate and not fall in, or are you not worried about that?
You sense it. I mean, you just take I guess when it's cold. I mean, I throw a dumbbell down, it doesn't go. I've fallen through once because it froze and a crack, and then the crack didn't freeze thoroughly, and I fell in. But I when I'm skating, I skate. If God forbid I do fall in, I'm not over my head. If only in case something like that happens. But it doesn't really happen. That was just the abnormality, but it did happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you like ice plunges?
Yeah, absolutely. I do a lot of because now
Yeah, when you can.
I do it on my knees. They say now that ice doesn't do anything. I really don't know. It feels pretty good. It works good for social media likes it. So besides liking it, good for my.
I ran track in the Masters USATF. I'm a sprinter, so I was running the 1, 2, and 4 in the last few years, and I used to take a lot of ice baths afterwards, after practices and meets,
Yes.
and I would take them right before bed for about 20 minutes, and I'd have about, depending on how cold it was outside and how warm the water was coming in, again, Texas, and then so I would have anywhere from 30 to 40 pounds of ice in my tub and
Yes.
get in there. And I hated it doing it, but afterwards I always felt so relieved.
Yes, definitely.
So I mean, for someone to say that ice doesn't work, it's just kind of, it's not like the people that do it, you can't just make that up. And what I've done over the last probably 6 years or so, I've done. Are you familiar with cryotherapy?
Yes.
Okay. Have you done much of that?
I've never done that.
No.
Yeah,
So it's completely different. So you haven't done cryotherapy. Is this something that you just don't want to, or you just haven't made time for it?
The opportunity. I've heard a lot about it, but I really never had the opportunity to do it.
Okay.
But if I try anything.
Right.
My performance, I'll try.
Well, I think a lot of cryotherapy, and I actually like both of them. I do like ice baths. I just what it takes to put it together. Sometimes I don't make the time for it, but I do make the time to go do 3 minutes of cryotherapy as often as I can. So it's pretty cool. So do you have any performance goals that you're training for? I had to ask because, it looks like you're, training crazy every day. Is there anything in the back of your mind that you're training for and you're like, haven't shared it, or am I?
Well, not really, but I just got on a little kick. I'm working with Tom Platz on a special limited edition belt. So his whole thing is 5 more reps. So now my water bucket workouts consist of 50 reps. So my mind is set for 50 reps on the drop set, but now I've just implemented 5 more reps in my mind do 55 because of Tom Flats. But
Ah.
I just just more mental challenge when it comes to the drop set. You know, I'm not into pushing the big weight anymore. You know, I handle some weight, but you know, I want to be have the longevity left in my, you know, training. I want to keep training healthy and doing maximum lifts and all those things. Don't interest me anymore. I was strong, very strong at the time, and I don't have to prove myself anymore. You put enough money down and I'll get strong again. You know, there's no reason for me to get strong again like I was.
Well, you definitely look pretty strong, and your equipment looks heavy. And I can only imagine how that water, the drop set, actually feels doing it. Is, you know, as you get lighter, it still gets harder, right?
Like your first 10 are like almost like max, you know, almost like maxed out first 10. Then you get to the 20, it's almost like, you know, what a normal 5 would feel. 5. And when you get to the 20, it's like you're just warming up your first 10, lightweight. So it's pretty brutal, but it's more in the mind. Okay, you got to keep going. Your body can do it. Your mind gives out before your body if you allow it to.
Right.
You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you just keep. I mean, because it's getting lighter, so obviously you can keep going, but your mind is saying, "Geez, this burns, this hurts, this burns, this burns." But,
well, my understanding, maybe you've heard something like this too, or have your thoughts on it. When there's something you're doing that the brain has to work at, I mean, the brain's always working, right? But maybe that the brain seems to have to function even more, and the body's also working. The brain ends up taking more of the energy, more of the calories,
yeah,
so that it can keep functioning. And that's why, you know, it kind of dwindles the body down a little bit.
Yes, this is like a combination because your body is burning and your mind is exploding.
That's how I feel when I run my 400s.
Yes.
I always get to that 250 mark, right around there, right before right before you hit that 300 mark. And the brain tells you, you're done. You can't do this. You're exhausted. Every time, and I've been running 400 since I was in high school, junior high rather, so back in the 80s. And I always have to fight myself and say, this is ridiculous. I've never stopped a 400. I'm not stopping now. And I've conquered hundreds of 400s over all these years. Why does the brain at that moment, every time for a couple seconds, try to tell you it can't do that anymore? And you're like, shut up.
Exactly what so you know exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly it.
It has this stupid little conversation going on, like, shut up, you're wasting time and energy now.
At 50 reps, your mind's thinking a lot of shit.
How long does it take you to do those 50 reps?
Anywhere from, like I have different size holes, so anywhere from a minute and a half to 3 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. So that's like running an 800.
It's brutal.
Yeah, or it could be some people for, you know, a 400 to an 800. So that's
in the first 10 is like a sprint.
Yeah. You know, where did you ever check where your heart rate gets to?
No, a lot of people ask me, but I just no. Oh, I just go.
And your breathing, like your breathing gets up there.
After 50 reps, I felt like
anaerobic.
Oh, brutal. It's brutal.
And now you're adding 5 more to it.
Adding 5, yeah. It's on the lighter end, not the heavier end. Not pulling the plug for the first 5 reps with Tom, and then pull the plug after 5 out of there to really be true to Tom. But I do it on the back end.
That's awesome. I want to get Tom on this show too. He and I have a cover. Is it out here? I don't see it right this second. I have so many different covers. I can't remember his. I don't think I have his out because I try to change them every once in a while. But yeah, I was, and it's funny because Tom, I was probably, 25 maybe, or 26. And I don't know where he was, but maybe 10 years older than I was or am. And so I think, you know, there was a story about him coming, like, who's this young girl I'm shooting with, right? And it was for muscular development.
Yes.
But it was a good cover, and we've been friends ever since. So I need to get him on the show sometime.
Yes.
But he looks like he's in great condition right now.
Yep. He
Yeah.
seems to be. I think he's going to be coming up to my nephew's store. I think we're going to do either 200 or 250 limited belts with his signature.
Nice.
Store and
nice, very nice. That's cool. All right, how many inventions have you created at this point?
Probably most of them have been in the fitness world. Probably 6, but probably the best thing is that drop set. No one's really caught on to that. When I first started, I used 5-gallon buckets like 40 years ago. So I've been doing the concept for 40 years. It's just I've incorporated all the machines recently. But that's probably if someone really caught on to it, they would find it's amazing. For rehab, it's amazing. But again, I'm running my own little world here, so it doesn't matter to me if it catches on or not. But it's
that's cool.
Just if you like drop sets, you'll love it. And everyone that has tried it has the same reaction.
Now you use water. Have you ever used sand, and would that be the same effect?
No, I don't think so, because it would have to be like so fine. It could be like an hourglass if you had it, but it would be too restricted. Like if it's a little wet, it won't go through. It'd have to be like a perfect environment, I would think, to do it. Where water is, you can do it on the beach, you can do it by the pool, you can do it anywhere.
And it dries up or it cools you off or whatever the case.
Wherever you are, if you're, like you are in the grass, if you're on the grass, if you don't have access to like a big pool, you stand in a weighted pool, you can do curls. There's multiple things you can do, but it's better obviously at the beach or if you have a lake or a pool.
Mm-hmm. Well, are there any exercises that you don't do?
I do a little bit of everything, but the water stuff, it's amazing. Probably the best is legs.
The best is what?
Best doing legs with the water, descending. Then back, arms, chest, in that sequence, shoulder. But legs and back are brutal, breathtaking.
The posterior chain?
Yeah, killer.
Well, I mean, nowadays people are so hunched over and tight in the front and restricted that, so many people have just poor whole posterior chains. You see so many people. I see so many young people now that are getting the hunched over neck, men and women and kids, and it just breaks my heart. And if I have a chance, I try to help, because that's one of the things I feel like I've done over the last decade is really focus on learning more about coaching posture and whole body posture, and how to actually use your glutes standing, use your glutes walking, use your glutes when you're washing your hair, brushing your teeth. So I've been coaching a lot of those things that I feel are, really lacking now when I see so many people hunched over because of their phone or computer or sitting or playing games or whatever they're doing. And their back is just stretched out and wimpy, a lot outside of the industry, outside of our industry.
Yes.
So you've seen that too.
Yes.
Okay. So the wood plates, we got to talk about the wood plates because they're so awesome. Yes. What kind of wood is that?
I use mostly oak because it's heavier. I've had some pine, but that just falls apart. But most of it is oak. Is
it from your land?
No, my friend has a fence company. It's called Executive Fence. So when he's out on a job, he cuts me the slabs and says, "Oh, these about 5." He was a national champion, powerlifting champion. So he knows what I'm looking for in regards to poundage. So they're pretty accurate with the weight. And it's ironic when he cuts them, they're only like within a couple pounds off from each other. But when you're using steel, you notice 2 pounds. When you're using wood, you don't even notice a 5-pound differential on one side to another. It's pretty strange feeling, and it's much more comfortable in steel because you're getting somewhat of the vibration in the plate, where the wood gives you like a soft compression.
Lost you. I lost your volume there for a second. You were saying the wood is softer, and I understand what you're saying by the metal, the steel plates when they kind of hit and you feel like that tension. Yeah.
Yes, but when the wood is like, even like when you're using a power rack, I've used like a wooden power rack, and when you bring the weight back into the rack and you hit the wood, it's a much different feeling than when you're smacking against the steel. So it's the same feeling when it's on your back, the wood has a more comfortable feeling to it than it does steel. I use stones. Stones feel more like steel. That feeling of steel. There's a cement plates I use. The guy has a mold. They're pretty good, but the best feel is the wood, besides the water. If you're gonna choose everything I use,
yeah. I like, and they look good too.
Exactly. I mean, it's out there in the earth, so I kind of implement the whole thing, and it works out well. And there's the weights, the steel obviously gets rusty, and so on and so forth. Where it just makes it for what the gym is.
You wonder if you could go back in time to way back when, they used to use wood and things for, lifting or for getting stronger, warrior training or something like that. That, it just makes sense.
Yes.
It makes sense. And I could see, based off your, sharing kind of like how that wood would feel versus, how I know when I've lifted heavy before with, squats or deadlifts or something, and that metal or the steel just feels so different. But I could see that.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And then I noticed some of your bars have a little bit of bend to them.
Yep. That's like a kinetic bar where I do a lot of kinetic training because with the water, the swishing inside the buckets gives you that kinetic energy. So the kinetic bar gives you the same feel. So you're getting a double whammy by having a kinetic bar for the flexion and the movement of the water for the actual kinetic action. So it's really, really amazing. And it's great on your joints. It's not pounding down. It's a better feel.
It's like giving, yet you're still having to do the work, but it's giving.
Yes, exactly.
Can you explain the word kinetic?
Kinetic is movement. Kinetic energy, I guess, is the movement of the movement.
Okay. It's not a word that I've really ever used before, so I wanted to make sure when someone else is listening, if they're like, "What's kinetic?"
Yeah. In layman's terms, I guess if you look it up, it'll give you more elaborate definition. But I think it's the movement gives you that kinetic energy.
Okay, I like that. That's awesome. Well, your training is so fun to watch. I will be going back in and seeing what you've got new coming up as often as I can. And there was one where you had a guy training with you, and he was taking his time pulling the plugs, I guess, and Dave or something.
That guy there, that's my friend. He's the most physically fit guy in the world. 300 workout. His record is 727, so he's a beast. So he's one of those guys that wants to beat you down. So he gave me a little drag there. But those 5 reps were Tom Platt's 5 reps.
Okay.
Tom's first 5.
Oh my gosh. Do you normally train with somebody when you're doing that, or is that a lot of by yourself?
I train mostly by myself. My spokesmodel, my Tran, she trains with me once in a while because she comes up and goes. She's been my spokesmodel for 10 years. So I really, it's I kind of focus on what I'm doing, but she trains, does her thing, but mostly by myself. But if I train with someone, except for like celebrities when they're in town or whatever, I grab that opportunity. I train once in a while with my, I have a recovery therapist that I work with. So every once a week we get together, get a pretty cool workout, then I get a recovery session. So my spokesmodel, check her out on Instagram. Her thing is my model, MAIMODEL. Whenever.
Okay, I will have to go follow her.
Extremely loyal and been great to me. So I'll make sure I want to get. But yeah, those it's mostly by myself because it's early in the morning. But when I have the opportunity I call him a sucker to drag into my situation. That's pain with me, and that's what I go for. But
that's fun. So, are all those videos? Do you do some of them? Going back to the beginning of our conversation was about social media and putting stuff out there. Do you have someone there doing those videos, or is that sometimes you do selfie stuff? You set it up and all of that.
Very rarely do I set it up. Like I said, I grab the opportunity when spokeswoman comes over. So she knows what I'm looking for, and vice versa. So we get content that way. Once in a while, I'll set something up just to set it up, but it's better to get kind of like, kind of a panoramic view of what's going on. So you need someone there.
Well, I tell you, it is way too challenging to get a good workout in and try to figure out how to get a good video in at the same time. And then it just feels, for me, I just feel like, okay, I am feeling vain, and yes. I'm now all of a sudden, because I couldn't get the setup, or someone's at where I need the camera to be, then now I'm having to deal with, okay, my workout's suffering now.
Yeah. I never let if I'm going to do something that I might do a complete workout and say, that particular exercise would look cool on a video. I make sure my workout is completely done. And then that's like a bonus set to do that video. So I'm at my weakest when I usually do the videos, because I've already done a complete workout, but I know the feel it's going to be a good one. So then she will, or my physical therapist will videotape it for me. But the workout has been completed. That's a set. Unless I'm like tape some, I'm going to be doing, it's for another podcast, a reality show, not a reality show, but it's called Cardillo's World, where I have celebrities come in and train with me, and then we just go through the whole gamut of basically behind the scenes of an athlete: training, therapy, eating, stories you never heard. And just so happens my co-host for that would be my spokesman on my training too. So
now that sounds like fun. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. I'll give you, when I get I have 3 episodes already done. As I get closer to it, I'll keep you updated on it.
That'd be awesome. Hi everyone, Monica here. Just wanted to thank you so much for watching the Monica Brant Show, and don't forget to subscribe, like, share these videos, and and that little bell notification. Don't forget to click that so you'll get more great content every time there's a show uploaded, or a video, or anything else. So you guys, thank you so much for your support, and as always, stay fit and love life.